In this clip we're going to be talking about the G chord, and particularly my students often ask me, how many G chords are there? Well, it's simple. Here's the way to answer it. So a G chord, to give you a full answer you need to know the names of the notes on the strings, etc. Right? But as a very, very beginner guitar player you're not going to know that. So if I start talking to you about note names, it's going to confuse you. So what I'll do is just show you some chord shapes. Okay. Now, what you're used to learning as a beginner guitar player is you can play a G like this. So let's go from the simplest to the trickiest. Okay. So we can play a G like this, just with 3 strings. Okay, G, B, D are the notes there. And we can play it with 4 strings. That's still a G. And we get a G, B, D, G. Those are the 4 notes in that chord, G, B, D, G. And we can do 5 notes. G, B, D, G, B. G, B, D, G, B. Notice how there's only G's, B's and D's in it, right? And so there's an easy chord there, right? If we come back again, so we'll just use 2 fingers to play that G. So we can play a 3-string G, 4-string G, or a 5-string G. Now if we want to make that into a 6-string G, we can put our 3rd finger on E3 and play like that. Okay, but for some people it's a big stretch between those 2 fingers. So often what they'll do instead of using the 3rd finger, they'll put the 4th finger down. So that means the 3rd finger guy is in the air. So now you're using 2, 1 and 3. Okay, so let's come back again to the simple one. So we can play it with these 2 fingers, or we can play it with these 2 fingers. So here's the 3-string chord again, the 3-string G, 4-string G, 5-string G, and if we want to make it into a 6-string G, we only got the little guy here, so we can put him on E3, and that makes for a 6-string chord. Now that is an intense stretch between this finger and that finger, and getting them both to stretch and clear the strings either side of them. Okay, so that's a 6-string G using 3 fingers, right? 6-string G using 3 fingers. So you can play it like this, or you can play it like this. Okay, and you're sitting there going, why do you need to go play it? As one of my students says, don't give me options, don't give me options, just give me the answer. Well, you know what? There are lots of answers, which is why I'm showing you this. And so how do you know which one to use? It all depends which chord you've come from or which one you're going to. Okay. So if you're doing caged, for example, if you're coming to G from an A, that's one kind of thing. If you're coming from an E to a G, that's another kind of thing. If you're coming from a D to a G, that's another kind of thing. If you're coming from an A to a G, that's another kind of thing. If you're coming from a C to a G, C to a G, that's another option there. Okay. So which shape you use or which fingering you use depends on where you come from or where you're going to. So it's no big deal. It's just another way to do another way to play the notes. So the notes stay the same. The only thing that changes are the fingers and their combinations and which strings you use. So to go back to this G, we've got the simple one here, right? 3 strings, 4 strings, 5 strings. The simplest G is this one here. Just 3 open strings. So that's a D, G and B, and all those notes are in the D chord. So if you're looking for a real simple one, that's the simplest one. As long as your right hand, your strumming hand, whether you're using your thumb, fingers, or a pick, as long as they can isolate those 3 and play them. Okay, so to summarize, you've got a 2-finger G, You got a 3-finger G and you got a 4-finger G. With a 4-finger G, there's really only one way to play it. With a 3-finger G, there are 2 ways to play it, with either the first finger free or the 4th finger free, or the 3rd way for some people is to have the 3rd finger free. Okay, but they're all the same G. And so what might be useful is for you to sit there and play between the G's. Now what I'd be suggesting to you is that before you can do that, you start walking to them. Okay, so here's what we'll be doing. Walking between the G's. We'll come back to a separate video for that. In this one, we just wanted to show you what the different ones are, along with your easiest one. So that ends this video on the different kinds of G's and what are they and what they are. So I hope this helps. Thanks for watching, and if YouTube hasn't cut us off, this ends this video. Thanks for watching.